every story has a happy ever after. And after this story, there's an after party.
Quarantine, which is I found myself with a little bit more time to actively seek out things I want to look at on Instagram. And I think it really is like a reflection of who you are deep down in your soul. Because the kind of things, okay, I follow French bakeries or bakeries that do super cute pastel or decorative cakes and sweets. I follow gothic Lolita clothing. I follow makeup and special effects people who specialize in surrealist body horror images. I also really like Pusheen and Hello Kitty. And I'll actually name this one Lebanese Weddings on Instagram. If you ever wanted to fix, yes. It is the name of a company that specializes in extravagant weddings. And when I say extravagant, I mean like the kind of people who can misplace the number of zeros on a check and not sweat about it. It's dumb.
Holy shit, I just looked them up. Oh my god.
Yeah. So,
oh my god.
If anything, my Instagram account is telling me that I am either Jonathan Van Ness deep down in my soul, or I'm basically Winona Ryder in Beetlejuice. And that's pretty freaking accurate.
I just started following a whole bunch of people from 90 Day Fiancé on Instagram because my life is very sad. But Instagram keeps on trying to sell me makeup, which I'm like, okay, that's not far off the mark.
There is one makeup thing that I do follow on Instagram, and it's the Mix Beauty Blender, because it's like everything that I love about how it's made in an Instagram video. And it's the same thing. It's always either lip gloss or lipstick, and I don't care. I want to see them pour the liquid into the mold and take it out perfectly.
A lipstick into a mold is a very satisfying when you pull it out, and it's so pretty.
I know, it's the best.
I want to get a lipstick mold and do that thing where you blend all of your reds and all of your neutrals and whatever together and get a mid shade and see what it looks like.
Exactly. I want to make my own lipstick. I want to have a Lebanese wedding, and I am Sam Logsden.
I'm Amanda Pierce. I did not have a Lebanese wedding. And I keep on compulsively buying makeup because I have nothing better to do.
I am way off the base of people who should be getting a Lebanese wedding if I decide to get remarried again, which odds are probably not. And if I do, I'm having it in my backyard. I did it once. I don't need to do it again.
Extravagant wasn't ever our style, like either of us. I had to have like a wedding because it's kind of what my family wanted for part of it. It's kind of what I felt pressured to do, and we had a fun wedding. I had a good time.
If any of you listening right now, if we ever become friends in real life, I will tell you about the time I got married, but that is not appropriate for the episode of Once Upon a Time we're going to be discussing today.
No, it's not.
This episode is saccharine, it is sappy, and I love it.
Did you have the problem that I had, which is that song "This Will Be" kept on playing over certain lines of dialogue in your head?
You know
this
what?
This will be.
It didn't because that song kept on playing the first time Prince James met Snow White. That's when that song was playing.
This was more of a night, like that is more of a brainless uh boring. I don't know. This
See, this
reminded
whole
me
B
of
got
like
ruined for me
in
by the Parent
1990
Trap.
in 1994, like the girl who played the girl fairy would have been played
Yes.
by Meg Ryan.
Yeah. Well, no. No. Meg Ryan plays a very specific type of leading lady. And I know this because I just watched Inner Space recently. Meg Ryan plays the leading lady who should know better and goes for him anyway.
She reminded me of a Disney princess from the 90s
Super.
where her only personality trait is kind of is she incompetent or clumsy or actually missing a lobe of her brain?
Yeah, it's a very fine line to ride. The kind of line that can be drawn out by a scalpel if you really
Mhm.
want to. I acknowledge how dumb this is. I do.
Yeah.
But I love this episode anyway, and it's not because of our leading fairy lady. And it's not because Mary Margaret gets to be the sassiest we have seen her. No, that's not
Yeah.
why I like this episode. I like this episode because of one man, and his name is Lee Arenberg, who we've talked about character acting before whenever we were talking about Chucky, Billy Babbitt, Grima Wormtongue, Zoso, Brad Dourif.
Yay, Brad Dourif.
We talked about how good of a character actor he is, and I think some people kind of get confused whenever you talk about a character actor, like what
Mhm.
exactly that means, because anybody can play a memorable character. Robert Carlyle as Rumpelstiltskin is a memorable character, but he is not a character actor. A
Mhm.
character actor is somebody who, even though they're not a rounded character and they typically play somebody in the background, they never really get to be the lead. They're not really a static character either. You tend to recognize them a lot.
Mhm.
Lee Arenberg got kind of a like right off the bat, like that's the kind of roles he kept on getting accepted for. For those of you who are paying attention to Once Upon a Time, he plays Grumpy slash Leroy. And he just
Yay.
has like that kind of face that he's like meant to be like a stock character. But the problem is like one of the things that he first got hired for was on Liquid Television and MTV. Specifically, he was on Idiot Box, which I never watched Idiot Box.
Yeah,
But
probably before my time.
yeah, and it was actually produced by not Keanu Reeves, but the other guy from Bill and Ted.
Oh,
That guy.
the other guy.
The other guy, the blonde guy. This
The
was a
other
show that he
guy,
produced.
so and so.
What's her name? But no, he basically got hired because he was really good at screaming loud. He played Mr. McPhee and a couple other stock characters, but from that point on, he would always get these roles where you aren't supposed to make him be the focal point, but you can't help but like him. And this
Mhm.
probably is best exemplified in his role as Pintle in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
In to the layman, it's the other one of those two pirates.
Yes, because his name in that was Pintle, and the other one was Rigetti. But I don't.
There's one with the eyeball that was in the
That's Rigetti.
original BBC Office, and then
Yes.
there's the other guy. We're talking about the other guy.
Yes, Pintle is his name.
Yeah,
I actually forgot Rigetti's name, but that's also because I never watched the original Office.
I don't know the names. He was Dwight Schrute in the original Office. He was the Dwight Schrute.
Okay, so he was British Dwight.
Yeah.
British Dwight and Grumpy were in Pirates of the Caribbean. During the time this episode would have came out, or at least whenever Once Upon a Time started, it would have been during the fourth movie. And to
Which
my
one was that?
understanding,
Pirates?
it wasn't at World's End. It was the one after World's End. It was something stupid like Far at Sea or something, but like the primary focus was on Johnny Depp. And
Was that one with Javier Bardem?
I think so. So I don't
Um,
even remember if Lee Arnberg was in that movie or not, but this is like at the point where Pirates was starting to like really run its course. And I
I
guess
actually
Disney
saw that
still liked
movie.
him enough.
I think if that's the one with the mermaid. God, I forgot that movie.
I did not see
Sorry.
it, so you
I think
might
I
be
saw it
right.
in theaters.
Oh wow. Um,
Yeah, I think I did.
I think I saw all the first three in theaters. I didn't see the fourth or fifth one at all.
You know what? I saw the fourth one. That's the one with the mermaid.
Yeah, so I don't know if Lee Arnberg was in that one or not, but the point being is like they were definitely running its course, and he probably wasn't going to be getting a lot of money off of that franchise anymore. So hopping
Hmm.
on board with Once Upon a Time was a very smart move for him,
Yeah.
especially since um like after that point he got a lot of voiceover work for like video games
Oh,
and
holy shit! He was in Pushing Daisies.
yes, he was. He was also in Scrubs. He was in a lot of like he would play like one character in one episode. So for him
Yeah.
to be something like Once Upon a Time is actually kind of rare. But I
Yeah.
don't think he would have gotten that opportunity if he didn't do Pirates of the Caribbean.
See, I was kind of trolling his IMDb because character actor has kind of two connotations, okay?
Yes.
So there is it's kind of the good and the bad character actor.
It,
The
yeah.
good is someone who plays a character and is usually one guy in one episode or two episodes of a thing. But they get
Hmm.
steady work, they have good credits. These are the people who are in the hundreds, maybe even 200s on IMDb for actor credits.
Yes.
Then there is people like poor goddamn Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, Mia Kunitz.
No, original.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Shit, I can't remember her name, but yeah, this is the kind of character acting where you get typecasted.
Margaret Hamilton.
Yes.
And
Poor Margaret Hamilton.
the lady who played Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's the problem with having a resting bitch face. You can be a
Where
memorable character, but that is the only character you get to play. Whereas with
exactly.
Lee Arenberg,
It
because I
seems like
actually read.
it seems like there are people who embrace that, and then there are people who will strain against that typecast. He doesn't
Yeah,
seem to
and
be the kind who is too upset with his lot in life. He's good at frowning and yelling, and they keep him there. And he has very good comedic timing.
his comedic timing is spectacular. A lot of people talk about how Johnny Depp stole the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but for me personally, I think it has to do with like that Abbott and Costello, like comedy as a duo, me and you right now.
Hmm.
There is something kind of brilliant about that, and the way that they feed off of each other in that movies and the non-verbal acting
Yeah.
is really strong. That's one of the reasons why I like this episode and why I bring up that Mary Margaret gets to be a little bit of like a snarky bitch in this.
Hmm.
Her comedy actually works because a lot of it is nonverbal and reacting to the things that Leroy does.
Well, and it gives her something else to do.
It does. Like, whenever she's allowed to not be a goody two shoes, she makes for a much more interesting character. And that actress, Jennifer Gooden, she actually knows how to play off of that. She's
Hmm.
just very rarely not giving that opportunity. And same thing for him. Like in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, something that I didn't realize is that he had to really do good vocal work to
Hmm.
change his pitch. He has a very
Yeah.
high pitch.
Hmm.
And as Pintle, he brought it really far down. So like unless you're really like straining your ear to hear it, um he doesn't speak in his normal register.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, so like and that takes a lot of work to do too. Although I think part of that might also have to do with the prosthetic teeth he was wearing.
Hmm.
That might have something to do with it. If you're wondering why I'm talking about all of this stuff and not the episode, it's because nothing really happens, but I like it anyway, and I find this background information and talking about characters and character acting much more interesting. It's our show, and we could talk about whatever we want.
Well, and it's kind of a fun fact because if you watch enough media, and I feel like right now, since everyone's kind of trapped in their house, everybody is watching a lot of media. You don't step on my phone or interrupt my sentence, Ramirez. You
I'm
come
gonna step on
across
your phone.
you come across actors and actresses that are like, "Hey, I know that face." And you get that a lot in this show, and a lot of it is because they do character actors a lot in this show. And any kind of long-running show will do that. But I like that more often than not, they'll give them something to chew on a little bit. I think they kind of did that with Belle. I think they've done that with a couple other character actors in this show.
In the first season, they do it.
And it's nice to be like, oh, I know that face. Where do I know that face from? Pulls up IMDb constantly.
Yeah, this is a good show where if like you ever want to check in on that one character that's made an impact on you, it's a good thing to put on, get lost on the internet for a little bit, and just make sure they're okay.
Just make sure they're happy and still working.
Yeah. How's Lana Perilla's dog doing, by the way?
Oh my God, I haven't checked her Instagram recently. She's like the first one who popped up.
Oh, cool.
She did a post for Earth Day where she looks radiant and gorgeous, and then natural soap promotion. Woo, Dr. Woo natural soap.
I've heard of Dr. Woo.
Never heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I don't remember where. Like I might have seen it.
She did a cooking video on TikTok.
Oh, she does the TikTok?
Her quarantine cuddles with my angel love.
No.
On April 16th. It's her cuddling with her senior dog.
No.
And another picture wishing someone else from Once Upon a Time a happy birthday. Oh, and then there's
who?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Can you tell me the actor's name?
Blah, blah, blah.
Or can you tell me who they are?
Sean Maguire.
Sean Maguire. That's...
Maguire.
Is it Scene or Sean or Sean?
Sheen.
Okay.
Google. Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And there's also a picture of her
Lord.
in one of her white dresses. It's like a Turn Back Tuesday kind of thing behind the scenes for Once Upon a Time. I can't tell you the day. April 15th. It's her in like a white dress, and all of the poof in the dress is all pulled up, and her feet are just in like, I'm assuming, ice water. It's just her on her phone with her feet in a bucket, and it's pretty good.
Oh, this is interesting. Sean Maguire stole the role of Robin Hood from Tom Ellis, who is Lucifer in Lucifer.
Oh.
And a lot of people have been telling me that I should watch that show, and I never actually did.
Meh.
Interesting. So, see, this is what we're talking about right now, because I think it is important to check on the people who've made good impacts on you. Like,
follow Lana Perla on Instagram. I'm gonna plug her. There, I said it.
are we plugging people right now?
No.
Okay,
Just
because
Lana Perla.
Well, no, this is actually kind of important.
Okay.
So before Happy Ever After Party was produced and published through Insensitive Network, it was done through dreadfulpenniesproduction.com. And that was something that I had set up by myself and used in part for promotion for the other stuff that I do, but like the main reason why I kind of brought it up in the first place was to try to get this show on the road before Insensitive Network came on. And I actually still have a Patreon page for it. And I got my first ever patron on Patreon through Dreadful Pennies, which that amount is actually going to go towards stuff for this show. So I do want to make a special shout out to Gail Jillian for contributing to our show.
Or even contributing.
Yes, it's like while that was coming out of my mouth, I'm like, why am I saying it so staccato? That's not how those syllables.
Contributing. That's not how words work.
Yes. Well, it's weird whenever you think it's like contribute and contributing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now
that makes more sense.
To everyone who thinks I'm a pedant and a jerk for doing stuff like that to Sam, try living with me.
Try living with me. But
I
seriously,
correct him on less and fewer all the time.
Gail, I do thank you for that. So
Thank you.
You've made our whole month a little less sucky because of that.
You're keeping us in beer and glitter eyeshadow.
Damn straight. So I do want to talk about this episode because, like I said, it's super sweet and saccharine, and it's okay. So this is funny because you're not amused by this.
There were parts I liked.
Huh?
Of this episode?
Mm-hmm.
There were parts I liked.
It's not the
fact that
episode.
The opening scene looked like a picture from Lime Crime's website. With like the fairies in the clouds. It's like, you could dye your hair. I just dyed my hair like pink and mauve for people who didn't know. There are no pictures yet because I haven't put on makeup yet. But I was looking at Lime Crime's website a lot recently, and as soon as they had those fairies up in the clouds, I'm like, yep, this is a picture for their bubblegum pink ad or whatever. I was like, oh, yep, this looks like a Lime Crime ad. It looks exactly like something they sent me.
This is a good place to start for you, too, because I forgot about the fairies' outfits. And I remembered your fire system, and I gotta ask, did you just put like drops of water to extinguish the flames on your notes?
Their outfits barely registered to me, especially the octopus-like bottom. It looked like not an octopus, jellyfish.
Jellyfish, yeah.
I don't like
the thing is, if like something was a little bit different, it could work.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they didn't have the tendrils, then maybe like the flaring out thing would have looked whimsical. But
maybe if they did like a full skirt kind of thing as opposed to this like full ballerina kind of moment.
Yeah, that kind of outfit works when you're doing something physical with it, and they never do.
Yeah, but it's just hanging there like a freaking dead jellyfish tendril, and
they look like piñatas.
It's kind of like the Robert Carlyle effect. Sometimes it looks right, and then other times it's like, no. You need to do something with this. I did like the fairy shade at the beginning, though, where she's like, I thought I'd be a fairy godmother by now. And she just laughs, and she's like, oh, dear. Oh, come on. Oh, honey. Oh, that's cute.
So, okay, so we're doing like the different thing today where we're going to talk about the episode a little bit, but I think it's kind of more interesting to talk about some other things leading up to the episodes.
It's like a 90s rom-com. Like it's a 90s Disney movie. A clumsy girl and a on the surface unlikable guy. He falls for her, and there are shenanigans.
Yeah.
It's pretty much
what's funny is that if you look at the overarching thing, because we like to talk about the Enchanted Forest separately from Storybrooke, but if you look at this episode as a whole, it is the perfect rom-com because you have that tension where the Enchanted Forest stuff ends. A dwarf and a fairy can't really belong together.
Mm-hmm.
But in the next life, so to speak, they end up being reunited, albeit in a very weird way, and with probably one of my favorite show moments.
Okay, now start playing that song. This will be in your head. Just play it for me. She's a dwarf. She's a fairy. He's a dwarf. They never thought they could get together. But when Miner's Day comes around, they fall in love.
In August, presenting Glitter and Grump.
An everlasting love. That's
Glittering
Tell
grump.
me
The
you can't
romance
see it.
that can.
And you could do the clips like, we need $5,000 for the Miners' Day Festival. Let's do
yeah.
it, sister. Like, come on.
Wait. Stop. Full stop right there.
Okay.
The show actually did us a favor by calling out how in the Storybrooke portion of it, we get to see all of the fairies basically being a convent of nuns, and they raise money by doing a church festival every year and sell these candles. And the lore that, remember, this is something that Regina had to construct.
Mm-hmm.
So we finally find the one thing that could have probably made everybody scratch their heads and think, well, maybe there's something wrong with this town.
Coal in Maine?
Coal in Maine. Miners Day is a celebration of coal miners in Maine. And Emma is like, coal mining in Maine? I could see if you were mining for lobsters. Which, that's not funny, but the show is at least a little bit self-aware.
That's what... There was another line where, once again, it was the "this will be" moment.
Yeah.
But where she goes, Grumpy, or not Grumpy, she calls him by his human name. She's a nun. Could you find anyone less available? Oh, says the woman who fell for a married man.
That was
like,
so good.
There were
that's
two.
What I'm talking about.
There were two bits that made me really happy. It was that one. And when she thought he was going to jump off the roof.
Yes.
And he was like, I'm not going to jump. I could hit someone. I'm solidly built.
And that actually leads up to one of my favorite moments in the show. And that, remember how I was like earlier talking about like things that were leading up to this episode being made?
Mm-hmm.
So we get to see the fairies, and you were talking about how the main fairy, the blue fairy who we've seen before, kind of throwing shade at Nova. The adorable,
is she
clumsy
the one who gets
fairy?
Exploded in
No.
Cinderella's? Okay, that was a different one. Okay.
No. She's the blue
all
fairy.
Fairies look the same to me.
Yeah. That one had like a yellowish kind of dress on.
Yeah.
And the blue fairy is always wearing blue. And in Storybrooke, she's Mother Superior. In this episode, she basically dissuades Grumpy for pursuing the romance between him and Nova. And she kind of does it out of really weird, selfish reasons. I made a promise to not make too many comparisons between this show and Bill Willingham's Fables. But his blue fairy kind of does the same thing, where she does things that aren't inherently evil, but she does a lot of things that are selfish. So even though, like, if you are a fan of Pinocchio, you know that, she's supposed to be someone who's inherently good. In the show, they don't quite turn it on its head, but they allow her to be in more of this, like, grayish area.
Well, and the reason why she doesn't want Nova to go with him is because of that very thing she laughed about at the beginning. And she said, next year you'll be doing this by yourself because she is getting promoted. And if Nova goes with Grumpy, there's going to be no one to do the thing that needs to be done with the dust. And she's going to be stuck there.
Assuming that there's only two of them left.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other one got exploded by Rumpelstiltskin.
Need more fairy swatters.
Yeah. I don't particularly like the blue fairy, and I do think that it's kind of... I don't think it was directly inspired by Fables in any way, shape, or form, but I do like the idea of taking somebody who is supposed to be so, like, good and pure-hearted, do things that aren't, like, with the best intentions.
Like 100% purely motivated.
Yeah, and she is not.
No.
So we see that, and we see Leroy when he's when Mary Margaret assumes he's going to jump off the roof. earlier in the show, like the whole tension about them being able to sell candles for this fundraiser comes about because she's trying to prove to the town that she's not a hussy, and he gets the hots for a nun, Sister Astrid. And the two of them team up. I think both of them make the joke about, oh yeah, the town drunk and the town harlot.
Yep.
The best team ever. And I do like the two of them playing off of each other with those stereotypes behind them, because that actually gives them like depth. The fact that they are not perfect people, but they're trying to do a good thing. It makes them more interesting. Some of the jokes
there were some quips in here. I wouldn't quite call them yucks, but
No.
Giancarlo Esposito and his little bit calling her pixie cut.
That was great. I actually laughed out loud when I heard that because I forgot that he called her that. And there's just something about like the way he talks too, where like he was kind of having like a
he was playing like throw the ring on the bottle thing.
Yeah, and it's like he was doing something so innocent and childlike, and then all of a sudden he kind of like starts talking like he's in one of Spike Lee's films again.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you go ask Pixie Cut over there?
Mm-hmm. But just so we don't forget this part, because I think we might forget it. Like the Z plot in this is Emma and Giancarlo are looking into what happened to what's his name's wife, Prince Charming's wife, David's wife, when she went missing at the end of the last episode. They find out David is the last one to have talked to her on the phone, and he is presumably arrested at the end of the episode because Regina threatens Emma.
Yes. And it's important to note
zero
too.
Henry sightings.
Zero Henry sightings, but it's important to note too. What is that sound?
Oh, I was putting my hair away. Sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But yeah,
it's important to note too.
Sightings.
Zero Henry sightings. We like zero Henry sightings. But it's important to note too that Giancarlo Esposito says that he's the one who knows somebody who can look up the phone contacts for Emma.
Mm-hmm.
And unbeknownst to Emma, that contact is Regina.
Okay.
So I think
I missed that this time around.
There is implied tampering with that evidence.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it, but it is very heavily implied.
Yeah, that she... I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It's really implied that she wants David arrested for it.
Yeah.
And Mary Margaret, and she's going to use this to keep them apart. And CSI Storybrooke.
Yeah, this is when CSI Storybrooke happens.
Kind of the Z plot.
The Z plot. And that's fine. It's fine that you, the audience, knows this. It's fine that we tell you about this. But we have to talk about the best fucking part of the show.
Yeah.
Which is, after nobody buys any candles, Leroy goes up to where the transformer is, takes a fucking axe, blows it out, so that everybody in the town is able to get light from the candles and they sell out. That's great payback for their relationship ending on a half-assed, I'm doing this for the good but under really shitty reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And him getting on Astrid's good side again for doing something really shitty for good reasons. That's good storytelling.
They need candles for their very well-lit yard thing. I was like, there are floodlights coming from above here, homies.
It's not a real set.
It is definitely a real set. It's really a set.
It's such a set. It's the best.
You've never heard of alfresco, have you?
I mean, I've heard the word alfresco.
It's an old British TV show that was like the first stop for like Robbie Coltrane, Stephen Fry, Hugh Laurie, Emma Thompson, a couple other people.
I've never seen it.
It was like a show they did in college, right after college together.
Yeah.
Because they were all in a performing troupe together. And then they did like 2 seasons of the show. And it's pretty funny. I enjoy it. But what? I hate people. Sorry, I got a random text message like, "Hey, hottie, want a video chat?" No, no,
You're
I don't.
already video chatting.
But so in Alfresco,
I'll
at
take
one
that
point,
out.
Stephen Fry walks in to the bar where the show takes place mostly, and he like brushes snow off of his hat and goes, "There's a hell of an effect out this evening, or out there." And when they were doing the fireflies on the hill and they did it again, that was like the only thing that went through my head. Like, wow, that's a heck of an after effect today. Like, whoa, look at that. It's so beautiful, that thing that we can't see.
Oh boy.
Sorry, that was a long road to, a disappointing ending, but
I mean, the same thing can honestly be said about the first season of Once Upon a Time, but we'll get there.
also Grumpy's smile kills puppies is something I wrote down. When he comes out of that egg and he's grinning like an idiot,
God.
I'm like, well, 5 puppies just died.
Well, yeah, he does sort of have the Kaiba effect of killing puppies.
Yeah, I can't with his smile. It just makes me upset.
He does a really good like half-ass smile, but like when it's full teeth, it's like, oh God.
Oh, and there was another really good line. I'm sorry. I know we're prattling around the plot, but whatever.
Like honestly, I'm kind of done talking about the plot right now because I think we just said everything that we really should talk about. I know we kind of left like an incomplete story, but you know what? Screw it. Watch it yourselves.
Doesn't matter.
Have fun.
It doesn't matter. There's
Nothing
some fun
matters.
lines. I enjoyed it watching it more the first time than the second. So if you haven't seen this episode, you might enjoy it. It's kind of fun.
This was my 4th time seeing it. It is worth rewatching. I'll say that much. Especially if you're in a bad mood and you want to watch something dumb and happy and get to see David get arrested at the end of it. That's worth it.
But his reaction when she's talking about the Firefly Hill,
oh God,
made me laugh out loud again. Where she was like, "There are fireflies and it's beautiful and I'm going there tonight." And he just goes, "Well, have a good time," and then walks away. And then he meets up with, he sees Belle. Well, he doesn't see Belle. Belle sees him like moping in a dwarf dive bar that Belle is in for some reason.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. How the hell did she get in there?
It reminded me of the bar from Shrek 2.
Yes.
It was just all the fairy tale characters. And there's just Puss in Boots in the corner with his hat pulled down. Like, all of the villains are in the same bar. Well, this is the opposite one for the good people, but it's still kind of a shithole.
No, it's like almost entirely dwarf-centric. She's the only normal-looking person there that I can see.
But
clearly the tallest one there. They did use like the perspective.
Yeah,
correctly.
They hunched her over a table too, a little bit. But she was like, "You idiot, she's in love with you and you love her and lovey love." And she's still a really good actress, but
yes,
it's pretty much love is the best, and love and dreams and love and dreamy love.
But there was a really funny quote right before that, because all of the dwarves were born around the same time. That includes all of the ones that we know the names of from Walt Disney's version.
Plus Stealthy.
Plus Stealthy. And before Belle gives him the proper diagnosis of being in love, he's talking about how he feels, and he's like, well, maybe I should have Doc take a look at me. And like their dwarf manager was like, you want a dwarf to take a look at you who got his medical license from a pickaxe?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that one made me laugh.
Yeah. Well, because it recognizes that the naming convention is kind of stupid and phoned in.
It's funny because
how do we have these
that's
stupid
the only
names?
time they do it, though.
Yeah. Every now and then, when it gets self-aware, it gets pretty good. But that was a good line.
No, then, like, I'm surprised Stealthy wasn't just like axed immediately. You know, like Pickaxe going stealthy. They're like, Yeah, we're just gonna have to nip this in the bud.
Be
Maybe it
like,
was an inside job. Because think about it,
back
like
into the
he was
left,
born.
back into the
He was
left.
They were only a year old when all this happened, and he got arrested like pretty shortly after he met Nova, and he
Uh-huh.
didn't know that that ring was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think a year after being in the mines and having all of them out and one of them being named Stealthy, I could totally see that dwarf manager being in league with
His name is
Hannibal
Bossy.
Lecter. Huh?
His name is Bossy.
Bossy. I could totally see Bossy being in league with Hannibal Fleeter and just be
As
like, yeah, you're just gonna have to off this dwarf. I don't care what you do.
it's a single arrow theory.
Oh
He fell
God.
back into the left, Sam. Back into the left.
Um,
Stealthy's murder was an inside job.
damn straight. This is mouse propaganda. If you believe that, you know, the guard was just doing his job, it's much more than that.
No, the mouse would never do that. The mouse is kind. The mouse is good. The mouse is God.
The
All hail
mouse,
the mouse.
the mouse knows how you like your hot chocolate.
All hail the mouse. Yes, the mouse is the glow cloud, but you know.
Mm-hmm. So, like, again, was this episode dumb?
Yes.
Was it basically was it a padding episode?
Yes.
Absolutely. But it was an entertaining one. A lot of the times when something is just padded to make the showtime longer and you can tell, it usually just drags. But for me, this one didn't. It had some good one-liners. They actually, like, let Mary Margaret have a personality for a change. I really like Lee Arenberg. I think he is
Mhm.
a wonderful character actor. And, like, is he typecasted for the way he looks? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he's also, like, one of the things that you have to remember as a character actor is you can't outshine the lead performers, but you got to make yourself memorable.
And
And
a
I think he does
paycheck
a
is a
very good job of
paycheck.
that. Hmm?
And a paycheck is a paycheck.
Well, a paycheck is a paycheck, but you still got to earn it. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. No, you can't
Like,
sleepwalk through it.
no, and he doesn't. Like, I can
Mm.
clearly, because this episode revolves around him, you can kind of see why he usually doesn't get leading roles. He has a very limited range, but
Yeah.
you know who else had a limited range? Frank Sinatra. And the guy sang the hell out of all 8 notes he could sing.
And at least this actor doesn't probably doesn't beat his partner.
Probably.
You know? At least he didn't beat Mia Farrow. I'm like 99% sure of that.
God.
He's probably a better human being to enjoy than Frank Sinatra, at least less problematic.
Yeah,
But I was thinking in my heart and soul why I enjoyed this less than the Beauty and the Beast-ish episode.
besides
And
the fact that we had D-list celebrities the whole time instead
removing
of
the
B.
removing the Carlisle effect.
Okay. Because he
Is
was in this
because
episode.
it was an unspecified timeline. I think that's what bothers me about this, is it
Yeah.
feels a lot more like those 90s rom-coms or Disney movies where it's like they bump into each other and suddenly he loves her. And you
Well,
could say
it's a
it's because of the fairy tale world, but it worked the same way there too. They had
well,
one
no,
conversation
because
and then love.
that's not why though. It's a dumb reason, but there is a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's because she spilled fairy dust. And
Yeah,
that fairy
yeah.
dust made him hatch earlier than a lot of the other dwarves, and his
Mhm.
very first memory was of her. Which
I'm just
basically makes
saying,
her a pedophile if you really want to
I'm
like call
not
it.
saying that there isn't a justification of it. I'm saying it's about as justified as Aurora's in Sleeping Beauty.
Oh damn, you're right.
Yeah. I
Ugh.
met with you once upon a dream. and now I love you instantly.
But
whereas in Beauty and the
they
Beast,
literally met in a dream, not metaphysically.
Yeah. Well, she dreamed of
slightly
Prince Charming too.
Huh?
She dreamed of Philip too. That's what I think. She actually had a dream about Philip because she talks about it with the animals, and they make the animal cape thing.
Yeah, I know, but
the unspecified timeline of Beauty
you.
and the Beast allows for the fact that she could have lived there for a week, a month, 6 months, and they established a rapport over that time, which leads me to kind of feed into that romantic fantasy a little bit, as opposed to I just met you and this is crazy.
But here's my pickaxe, so scoop your fairy dust maybe.
I just met you and this is crazy. But here's my pickaxe, so call me Dreamy.
Okay, that's the fucking name of this episode.
Call me Dreamy.
Well, we'll see how much of that whole song I can cram into a title, but like, yeah.
Here's my pickaxe, call me Dreamy.
I just met you and this is crazy, but here's my pickaxe.
Is that a pickaxe in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
I don't think it needs to bend that far back.
Hey Sam, mo French, mo problems.
It's still funny.
It's Billy Bibbit.
It's Grandma Wormtongue.
It's Chucky.
It's Brad Dourif.
Darn tootin'.
So I think for this episode, I can't give it a 3 because I think there's been episodes that I've liked less than this that I've given a 3. And even though it's pretty much like functionless, I enjoyed it. So I'm giving it a 4 with like a bit of a bite.
Yeah, I could give it a 3 if you caught me on a goodish day.
Yeah, it's like I can't. The problem is that it has so much good in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sorry, but Once Upon a Time is so slow paced and offers way too much screen time to David and Mary Margaret that seeing a guy want to at least be like, he doesn't want to bang the nun, he just wants a good, like, solid waifu nun.
Well, he says to Mary Margaret that your memories made that affair, even though you're a harlot now, worth it. And he's like, I don't even have memories of good times with anyone.
Yeah, so it's
he just wants a good memory.
It's wonderful, and that memory involves blowing the fuck out of a transformer, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And selling still unnecessary candles.
Well, in the context of the show, they were necessary for selling, but, you know, when it comes to making sure we can see what was going on, yeah, it was a bad effect. Although, you know what I forgot to point out last time? When Mary Margaret gets bitch slapped.
Yeah.
Granny calls her out on it. When Granny says, you should be ashamed of yourself, you done messed up. But you know what happens?
Granny gives her a candle.
Granny lights her candle. She takes her own lit candle and lights Mary Margaret's candle in a nice little nonverbal way of saying, you know what? You're back on my good side. And it's like the little touches like that. I can definitely say I liked this more than I've liked a lot of other episodes.
But can I say they forgave her of her murder in less than 24 hours? Because she disappeared the day before.
Well, I don't think the townspeople knew that. Or I don't think
they knew for less than 24 hours. Because she slapped her and then wrote the letter and then left.
Yeah.
So it's been 24 hours plus maybe, let's say 30 hours between the slap and now.
Yeah, so people knew about the slap, but they didn't know about Catherine's disappearance.
I'm just saying the timeline is slightly screwy.
you know what would really help with that is like a consistent team of writers.
Yeah.
And that's one of the
also,
problems with the
Granny's
show
is
is
a
that it's
breakfast
not
bar at the
consistent.
beginning.
Huh?
Granny's is a breakfast spot at the beginning, and it's a bar at the end, and I'm upset.
Again, you see the biscottis in the morning and the whiskey is underneath, and then they just slowly switch it out sometime during lunch. I'm willing to say 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I understand the concept of switching from one to the other, but name me a place that does that when it has 2 people staffing it.
Okay, name me a place in Maine that does coal mining, and I'll give you my answer.
Hi-ho.
Hi-ho. If I can't remember what the next episode is, but if it is what I think it is, it's going to be a great one. And I'm going to have no chill screaming. So
You're like, yes.
So for those of you who are listening right now, I had to cut out about 3 minutes or so of dialogue that contains spoilers for the next episode, but that's because me and Amanda are really excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I might do? Either before the next episode or after it. I might do a very short non-Once Upon a Time episode that has to do with another fictional place in Maine.
Ooh, what is it?
I might need to talk about my theory about Jessica Fletcher. I might need to do that because I feel like if we're going to be doing a little spook trend, which we are, we're going to get a little spooky. I feel like now would be a really good time to do that. And it wouldn't be like a full-length episode. It would just be like a little, like 20-minute blurb of me uncovering a conspiracy theory about one of my favorite fictional characters.
Nice.
Yes. So until next time, let's see. Do we have anything else that we need to plug in?
No, not that I can think of off the top of my head.
No, just once again, Gail Jillian, thank you very much for being a member of Patreon. I haven't really used the Dreadful Penny site in a long time, but if enough people support it, I think it'd be kind of cool to start doing stuff with Amanda that don't have to do with fairy tales and just more about like really random movie topics in general.
We could do a 2-hour special on Twin Peaks. We
could do like probably a 5-hour.
Yeah. I was lowballing it.
If you get me and Amanda in a room long enough with like enough Moscato, like we will tear up Twin Peaks.
Are you telling me it's time to wrap up, Xenu? Because you just came barreling toward my phone. Are you calling it?
Xenu? Well, Xenu, I'm stepping on your phone.
Oh God. He just headbutted me in the mouth.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Sam Logston, and I hope y'all are safe and sound, and you keep washing your hands.
I'm Amanda, and this is my son Xenu.
I can't hear him purr, but I'm internalizing
He
it.
is very loudly purring.
Aw. Well, maybe I might be able to pick it up in post-editing. But hey, folks, remember, it may not be the end.
It may not be happy.
But you are always welcome to this party. Take care.
But this kitty's happy. Yes, he is.